A big story, and we've got experts who are joining us. Mahesh Tapase of the NCP joins us this evening. MS Unikrishnan, Chairman for the CIA Committee on Industrial Relations, joins us this evening. Dr. Velamani, MD for Thyrocare, with us this evening as well. Vishwas Pathak of the BJP, Chandrakant Salunke, founder and president of the SME Chambers of India, joins us this evening as well. Mahesh, I want to come to you first to try and make our viewers understand how does life change, what it is today in Maharashtra and what it will be starting tomorrow 8 p.m. or Thursday?
Good evening, Tanvi and all viewers. The CM has just announced that from tomorrow evening 8 p.m. Section 144 will be clamped across Maharashtra for the next 2 weeks. That is up to the 30th of April. So what he essentially means that we do not crowd in places, but he's definitely given us a leeway as far as essential services, banking, municipal corporation, government hospitals, vet hospitals, animal hospitals, and all those other things which come under the category of essential things, services. So they have all been exempted from the lockdown. If you have any problem regarding any of the essential services, you can definitely go and avail those services. So nobody is going to stop you. The only thing that he mentioned here that today we are facing a very critical supply of oxygen. 1200 metric ton is the supply of oxygen. We need more. So he's requested the Prime Minister whether it can be airlifted into Maharashtra from various other locations, whether the injections can be made more available, and so many other things. But now this particular lockdown or this particular curfew that I would like to say that the CM has chosen to address it as a curfew. Now this is pertaining only to Maharashtra, so that also means that it does not have a far-reaching and impactful on a far-reaching impact on the economy as such. We might be in a kind of a forced lockdown in Maharashtra to a certain extent, but industries will be functioning in the neighboring states, and also essential industries are definitely working. And
so do industries, Mahesh? Do industries work in our state as well? For example, Pune has a massive automobile setup. I'm just taking one example. Will that continue or will that not continue?
I think he was very categorical to mention pharmacy companies, pharmacy or manufacturing companies. This is what I could understand from his brief. Well, I have to read the notification to understand what companies are exempted. But definitely, see, life and livelihood, they're two important things. First, it is important to preserve the life. And if life is preserved, I think livelihood can definitely be restored, and for which all of us, we have come together in the past also, and we've all come together. Essentially today, safeguarding the life is more important, and that is what the CM of Maharashtra has hinted at. He has solicited the cooperation of all the political parties, all the various stakeholders, whether that's the SME or the banking sector or the industry or the FICCI, ASSOCHAM, and all the other industry representative bodies are also there with the Chief Minister. And this has come after he held various consultations with all the stakeholders.
Okay, and we're going to keep pulling out more and more from the document as well that's just come out in terms of what is allowed, what isn't. Even for shops, the Chief Minister has said in the order actually says any essential shop owner, person working there or any customer found defaulting on above requirements will be punishable by a fine of 500. So those who are in the shop, essential shops, and they have people working for them will also have to follow the basic COVID protocols and safety norms. That's one thing. We're going to try and fish out a little bit more as far as the industries are concerned. But Mr. Unikrishnan, quick response from you. Maharashtra is one of the big contributors to the economy and the GDP of this country. Now, your initial reactions on what this order could do to the economic activity here?
So we have not gone through the details of this for me to be commenting, though the earlier person mentioned about industrial activities expected to be coming to a standstill. I don't think that's what the CM meant. At least in the discussion that the industry bodies had with the CM, there was not talk about a total lockdown of the industry. But we are supposed to be following already some of the new rules introduced that every worker has got to be undergoing a RT-PCR test also every 14 days, physical distancing to be done. I don't think there is any need for me shutting down the factory because during the last lockdown period of March to maybe May, beyond which we were all allowed to start one by one the industries, That time we have rearranged our entire factory construction the way we had been doing the assembly line, the way manufacturing is done, because all the COVID-oriented behaviors were already maintained over there. The first in the country to introduce all which is fit enough for managing with the COVID pandemic was the Indian industry. And physical distancing is already managed in all of them. And many of us have already ensured that there is accommodation provided for the labor, migrant labor. Otherwise, this should not lead to another problem. So I presume.
So may I, and you are right to a certain extent. So may I just, for clarity for all of us and our viewers as well, read out the manufacturing sector part, which is obviously one of the most critical parts, where the order says, following units shall continue to operate and may operate in various shifts as required. All units that manufacture essential services or the manufacture products needed for essential services can function with full capacity. Export-oriented units that need to fulfill export obligations, they can function. Units that require processes that are of such a nature that they cannot be stopped immediately or cannot restart without considerable time may continue with 50% of the workforce. It also goes on to say all the units that provide accommodation to their labor working either in the same campus or in an isolated facility from where movement can happen in a bubble, then with only 10% managerial staff, they can continue to work. All staff, managerial as well as shop floor and others, without exception, everyone engaged in the activity to get vaccinated at the earliest. So largely, Mr. Unikrishnan, this is as per the conversations you've had. So exports gets the exemption, absolute essential gets the exemption. If you can't immediately shut down, that you get an exemption. And if you have your labor working in staying in an isolated facility or the premises, you get the exemption.
See, this will be covering, in my opinion, maybe 50% of the entire manufacturing activity within the state of Maharashtra. Even those which may not be qualifying under essential services or equipments being manufactured, I would presume that many of them would have already made arrangements for their labor to live inside the factories. If not so, there are dedicated accommodation organized for them and a dedicated transportation for them also being organized. With that also, I need to be admitting one factor, that Maharashtra is, apart from manufacturing, possibly the largest manufacturing state of the country, it also has got two major ports at Bombay, through which only many of the imports do happen for the rest of the country, and many of the items get exported. So the port activity was another thing which got impacted. And it is very, very important that we have the migrant labor remaining in the state back. One of the biggest challenges all of us faced last time was in terms of they migrating out of the state,
right,
and taking a very long period to come back. Whatever is done currently, whatever is spoken, I am taught, industry is in total support of the Chief Minister.
Okay.
Unlike the last time we complained, this time we were consulted, we are also been in dialogue. We want to continue the dialogue, but if you reduce the industrial activity, the tax collections will suffer, and without money, you cannot face COVID.
Okay, so we'll get to the minutiae in just a bit, and a very important topic that you raised about the migrants, because already the fear of a lockdown has pushed hundreds of them to catch trains, catch buses, whatever, and get out. Fear of a rerun of 2020 obviously haunting them. But before I continue with that, I just want to say good evening to Dr. Velumani. Dr. Velumani, obviously a large part of this, a big factor in this decision was the pressure we are looking at on the healthcare infrastructure, including testing, whether it's the testing labs or our hospitals. Do you think that a break of about 15 days like this will be able to give us that much needed ease of that we're looking for?
Yes, such from the month of first week of February till today, week over week, literally 50% growth in the need of RT-PCR test has put all the laboratories to the brim. And for the last 3-4 days, ever since the government of Maharashtra told that you should have a negative PCR test to work in a workplace, the crowd has become really crazy, and it is very difficult for us to cater to the needs. So this lockdown is less likely to help us to do anything. This lockdown probably will have more pressure on us to deliver more RT-PCR tests, because traveling is a very big burden. See, if X is the need for common man, 2X is the need for traveling needs, and 10X is the need for corporate needs. We don't have that much capacity to do in the city, and the city laboratories are very small. It is not easy to start a new facility without adequate approvals. It's going to be a very big pressure on laboratories. They're already to the brim working. I hope that these 15 days will give some sort of stagnation so that we can ramp up our capacity little more.
Options for you to then ramp it up quickly, and obviously no amount of ramping up earlier or preparation earlier could have prepared us for these kind of cases. 50,000 cases every day, we couldn't have prepared for it. But Dr. Velamani, what is the way forward from here on as far as testing is concerned? That's the first step to identify and track and stop the problem.
See, the last peak took month over month 25%, 30% growth. Here it is week over week, 50% growth. So really laboratories cannot cope up with it. We don't know how to do. And the rapid antigen test is not giving substantially reliable outcome. So there is an increasing pressure. And in fact, we are transporting specimens from Mumbai to Delhi because we have some better capacity there. Like that, other major players are also doing. So it is important that we find a way of fully utilizing the capacity. Today, we are testing more than what we were testing in the peak of the first wave. So there is no additional capacity available. It's a really a scary situation.
I completely agree with you. An extremely scary situation. We've spoken to people, across Delhi and Mumbai and several other parts where it's now a struggle to get a slot. It's also a 2 to 3 days way to get the results. And obviously the government also doesn't want it. For example, in Mumbai, there is an order by the civic body that says don't take on more load. So that will impact your results. But this is the situation. And several of our government rules itself say if you want to get back, either vaccinate or come back with an antigen test or an RT-PCR test, which is just going to add to the burden. Corporates want that. People are saying if you want to come to the office, get an RT-PCR test and come back. That's going to add to the problem. So it's going to be extremely tricky. But Dr. Velamani, thank you so much for joining us and providing your insights on the big problem, because obviously this is a decision making factor. Why this lockdown was perhaps needed, this set of new restrictions were perhaps needed. Now, let me go across quickly to two of our other panelists who are joining us. Mr. Vishwas Pathak, quick response from you, because the BJP was vehemently opposing a lockdown. Is this something that you do agree with, the kind of restrictions that have been brought in?
Allow me adequate time, Tanvi. See, first of all, whatever Honorable Chief Minister has expected from central government and Mr. Modi, he should be rest assured that all such assistance and this help will continue to happen. However, whatever he has said today, I as a citizen and also as a BJP person, I found my CM to be absolutely clueless, absolutely lost, and absolutely having no direction what he wanted to achieve. See, actually what we wanted, that there has to be a life, economic life, while curbing this pandemic. But he has not outlined anything how he's going to curb this pandemic. This pandemic is so serious, the number of cases are going so rapidly. To curb that, there has to be some iron hand kind of announcements also. To me, if I am not more than 5 person a group, then I can move around. I can do whatever I want to do. I think there is no clarity at all. Secondly, those whose businesses will be crippled, for them, he just making announcement, which is nothing but eyewash. He only just put it at a very larger extent, saying that all put together 5,000 crores help is going to give it. So what is this 5,000 crores? The 5,000 crores means it is not even 1% of state GDP. When this Atmanirbhar of 21 crore was announced, these people were laughing, saying that it is not even 10% of GDP. I think it is totally mockery. There is no clarity. And I can see there will be total chaos from tomorrow. The lockdown, he has been criticizing Mr. Modi's lockdown, that lockdown should not be imposed immediately. So what he has done, by giving 24 hours time gap, what is going to achieve? People can neither migrate from one place to another place. So he should have might as well started from today only. I think there is a lack of clarity. He doesn't know what he wants to do. In the process of just balancing the act of economic activities, neither he's going to achieve economic activities, nor he's going to curb this pandemic. This second surge, second wave is very serious, serious wave. And for that purpose, something very strict was expected from this government. But instead of that, for last 15 days, they were under lots of confusion. And that confusion is expressed out of his today's talk.
Okay, I want to, Mahesh, just hold on for your response because we must bring in Mr. Salunke as well and get a response from him before I get you to respond to this. But Chandrakant Salunke, your reaction to the announcement that has been made, are you a little relieved that this is not a total lockdown and some breathing space has been given to businesses, or are you still concerned?
First of all, we are with the Chief Minister of Maharashtra because he has taken very much care now for the people's health. This is the right time to take a lockdown because many people are, infected and many people are going to infect because they are not taking care of, rather when they go out. So this is the right time to, support Chief Minister because this is not only the wealth and health, this is the impact of the economic growth of the state. I would like to suggest the BJP spokesperson that why don't you take up this matter to the central government through Mr. Gadkari, through Mr. Piyush Goyal and through Mr. Fadnavis. Use the weightage and bring more money for Maharashtra, especially for the SME sector, because the SME sector is going to impact more in this pandemic, in this lockdown, especially for the GST, for an extension of 3 months more. The NP accounts will become that should be enhanced. They given the support, and mostly the people those are enjoying business activity in Maharashtra, companies registered in Maharashtra, they should be given a priority for all the relief package given last year. Similar package to be announced by the central government. Then only SME or industry will survive. Then they can improve. Support for the economic growth of not only state but the nation. Maharashtra is contributing 100 rupees, 100 rupees to the GST. How much they are getting Maharashtra? Only 22%. And the other states also getting more than 10 times. So this is the impact of the rather economic growth in Maharashtra. I suggest government should take up this matter to the central government and approach RBI, approach bankers to give the relief because ultimately industry and SME will face a problem. Banking sector only. And the most important, another point is the migrant labor. The Maharashtra government should take initiative and bring all the migrant labor and some shelter or create some place where they can stay and they can come back again, particularly for the work. Today only, I think Supreme Court has also given order that how many migrants labor in each state so that this figure will be useful.
No, but let me ask you that, Mr. Salunke, before I go to our political representatives. Are you struggling already? Are SMEs facing this problem where people have begun to leave? Because we spoke to many of these migrant workers. They said either they had lost jobs or their businesses were shut down. They didn't know when they were opening. They were out of money. Or in some cases, their employers had told them, please go home right now. We don't know what will happen.
No, SME owners are not telling them to go home. They are rather providing support to shelter also to stay. But somehow, they are scared because this lockdown may be enhanced because of the Bengal and other states election. After May also this lockdown can be extended. This is a fear amongst them. State government, rather Maharashtra state government announced a little bit amount, but they should enhance the amount for the particularly those are daily wages worker. Those people are getting the available work in the market. So government should put a lot of efforts for the bringing all the database together. And the SC has already given direction today to bring the migrant labor data so that central government and state government can prepare a plan for their particularly revive and survive.
Okay, Mahesh, now respond to what is being said here about lack of clarity on what you have decided to do and the confusion that's actually led to even this point.
Well, Tanvi, I don't quite agree to what my friend Vishwas Pathak ji said. In fact, he has completely ignored the fact that Honorable Chief Minister did call up a meeting of all the stakeholders that includes the various political parties operational in Maharashtra and asked them to solicit the help and support of the center as and where it's possible. And today also in his appeal to the state, he also said that the Prime Minister, if he can intervene and he can airlift certain supplies of oxygen and that will be a real help to the state of Maharashtra. So I don't quite agree with what my friend Vishwas Pathak said. We have been contemplating this. I think the entire Maharashtra knows that the country has been watching us across all news channels. This has been a hot topic of debate. When the question was when, everybody knew that a lockdown kind of situation is going to come, but the question was when. So after this, this today's Gudi Padwa festival and Ambedkar Jayanti tomorrow, it was more than evident that maybe tomorrow evening or day after morning the lockdown would be lockdown under the new name of curfew would be imposed under section 144. But that also leaves a little scope for the people to slightly breathe, because the last lockdown that the country faced was very hard, and hence people were migrating from one state to the other state, and it's a national lockdown. This is not a national lockdown.
Mahesh, let me ask you this question, because we are still trying to figure out how what life is today changes on Thursday, except for no film shoots which were allowed right now, that will have to come to a stop. We are already in a situation where you said that only essential shops should be open, malls are supposed to be closed, markets are supposed to be closed. Private sector was advised to not, to make people work from home. Effectively, there was a weekend lockdown any which ways. Vendors are still allowed, home deliveries are still allowed, factories with exemptions still continue, construction activity continues. So what have we effectively changed, or are we only saying, okay, now we will implement seriously?
See, basically, Tanvi, the CM is to safeguard the life and the livelihood. Both the things are important. Initially, the life is important, but life without livelihood may not sustain for a very long time. So, empty stomachs with good health can't go a very long way. So, livelihood also has to be sustained, and it has to be, it may not flourish the way that it was flourishing in way back in 2018 and 19. 20 was a bad year for the entire world, I would say. The economy of the world has actually collapsed, and it has been a bad year for us. But this resurgence of this new strain of virus, especially in Maharashtra, has left all of us, in a very shattered state. 560,000 cases, active cases today in the state of Maharashtra. 60,000 cases reported on just one single day today. I mean, this is something we are much concerned. We don't know who's going to be falling prey to the coronavirus in days to come. It can be anybody amongst us. It can be our workers. It can be our near and dear ones.
Yeah.
So, blaming the government for everything may not be the real thing that we have to do. We have to realize our social responsibility, our moral responsibility as citizens of this great nation. We have to take the onus on safeguarding our own families, our own livelihoods, our own businesses, our own society. So we have to take the onus of and be responsible in safeguarding everybody as a citizen. Let people say whatever they want to say. They will let them make out a political, out of it. But the fact remains that, and even Vishwas Pathak, my friend, he also knows that today nobody on earth has a sure cure for corona. Nobody has. I have not seen any president.
No, all of that is fine, and I am right now not even questioning your decision, or I think we are way past even questioning you on lack of action earlier. Now we are in this situation. We are all in a soup. We have to do something about it, and together we are doing that. I am just trying to understand, where does life now change? Cinema halls, theatres, amusement parks, water parks, clubs, swimming pools, gyms, sports complexes, most of these were already shut. Shops, malls, shopping centres not performing essential services to be closed. They're all supposed to be, although I can tell you that in many parts of our state today, even today, they're not. Limited number of people at weddings and funerals, that is what is there in this. Barber shops, spa, salon, beauty parlors to remain closed as well. Schools and colleges closed. All of this is already done. But let's see where it makes a difference now. Dr. Shashank Joshi joins me as well. Vishwas Pathak, I'll come to you. Shashank Joshi is with us. Let me get in a quick view from him as well on this. Dr. Shashank Joshi, a 15-day tougher restriction announcement, will this help us break the chain, since it's not the toughest of the lockdowns we've seen?
Tanvi, there are two issues. One is that the healthcare infrastructure is overwhelmed. Currently, we don't have beds. We have challenges with oxygen and medications. So it will definitely help us to rebuild and add more capacity to the healthcare infrastructure, which is overwhelmed and overburdened. What are the key takeaways from the decision today? Unlike last time, there is a tightrope balance between economy, livelihood, as well as lives. Number two, there is enough empowerment for decentralization to the local geographies. So the local district collector can have an empowered in the current restrictive break the chain approach that they can take local decisions based on the local needs and the local geographies. So this, if you carefully read the blueprint of the 17 pages which have come out, it is a very, very balanced approach which has been adapted. Now we are already seeing that in Mumbai city, when we upscale testing, the test positivity rate from 25% has come down to 16% today. And we are seeing a form of a plateau. So if these 15 days help us to break the chain and at least get us on a plateauing thing, we will achieve something. But remember, there has to be a zero tolerance for people not following COVID appropriate behavior. And even when we unlock, we should not sow the seeds for the next wave. So that is something which we have to be mandatory. And even when the lockdown or so-called restrictions break the chain strategies in place, we should have zero tolerance for people not following COVID norms. And that is something which is mandatory. And that for that, a lot of voluntary participation and cooperation of people is solicited. But I think
Dr. Joshi, I will ask you the same question since you have been part of those conversations. You were part of the conversation which happened with the Chief Minister the last time around as well. And you're right. And we understand a big decision factor here was the overburdening of the healthcare infrastructure, of our medical staff, of our testing labs as well, our hospitals as well. And so that has been a factor that was considered for this decision. But what's changed? I'm just trying to understand what's changed from what already exists today, even if it's only on paper.
No, I think the enforcement of that would be much more tighter.
Yeah.
That is probably the need of the hour. And that has to be done. There has to be zero tolerance for people not, they will still attempt to get out and break the rules. I think the virus is in the mind and we have to make a behavioral change. If we have to beat COVID, the only way to beat it is double mask and change your mindset and stop being rebellious and reckless.
Okay, fair enough. Enforcement is the key. Enforcement must happen, and that's where it's going to boil down to. Because if we keep announcing it and allow the shops to open and people to travel and everybody to break the rules, then it's not going to help, and cases will continue. Vishwas Pathak wanted to make a point before I go back to our business representatives.
Tanvi, I think you are spot on all various issues. However, those questions could not be answered. 2 days back, there was 2 days lockdown on Saturday and Sunday. Despite of that, today, Maharashtra has witnessed 60,000 plus cases, which is unprecedented high through COVID. Now, my question is that only, while doing so much of detailing for last 1 month by this Chief Minister, he has lost the sight. What he wanted to do, he wanted to curb this pandemic. And for curbing this second surge, there is no any provision. I would like to ask my friend, Mr. Tapase, tell me the 2 steps which he has initiated out of this discussion whereby this pandemic will be curbed. There is nothing. Simply by saying, I request, I pray, you are my family member, this kind of language will not help you to enforce the decisions. I think it is a totally lost situation. From tomorrow, there will be lots of chaos. And they have done eyewash just by extending the figure of 5,000 crores, wherein Mr. Aditya Thackeray has sanctioned around 5,000 crores for the refurbishment of BMC quarters. So what 5,000 you are talking about? I think without taking any financial burden, without any clarity, without any enforcement directions, totally kind of chaos situation. And from tomorrow, you will find that the 60,000 is going to unfortunately go up again.
60,000 will go up again. Mahesh Tapase, what's changed despite 1 week of restrictions and a weekend lockdown?
I have
Mahesh,
a question for both the. I have a question for both the politicians.
Yes, Mr. Salunke, I'll come to you and Mr. Oni Krishnan in just a bit. Mahesh first, yes.
We have to keep on trying till the time we succeed. Mr. Shashank Joshi, who is a member of the task force, I think very categorically he said that life and livelihood both are going side by side. And the CM has seen that the marginalized are not left without food. The Shiv Thali, the Shiv Bhojan Thali is going to be free of cost from tomorrow onwards. So it's not that he has not thought of anything. The entire Mahavikas Aghadi government, which is the Congress and the NCP and the Shiv Sena, of course, in the saddle. So whether it's the workers, whether it's the farmers, so even the common rickshawala person, even he's been thought of. It may not be a huge facility for him or a huge financial aid to him, but something is definitely thought of at this point of time. Nobody's been ignored, and it's a pandemic. Come on, we are not having a gala time here that we have to, we have to dance in pomp and glory. This is a time where we have to restrict our resources and live in the minimalistic of the wants and demands and comforts.
Okay, one interesting point though, which is there is any industrial process that uses oxygen as raw material is disallowed, obviously because oxygen is the need of the hour for COVID patients, and we're already facing a shortage. The state has been in conversation with various players and participants to figure out how we can bring in more oxygen availability. Mr. Unnikrishnan, you wanted to make a point on the business aspect, and I reiterate the question. Now that we know that the restrictions are largely the same, is there anything that is different for business entities?
Absolutely. I would divide them into two. The ones like where work from home is practical, like IT industry, which is predominantly large in the state of Maharashtra, and a lot more of activities which can be done from offices. We have automated, the entire industry in Maharashtra is automated. So that's why I mentioned that maybe a 40-50% will be the sufferance. But manufacturing, and my colleague sitting over here from the SMA industry, can be the biggest sufferer because a good part of them are fabrication industries, smaller factories, where they may not have the wherewithal to go for beyond anything 2 weeks kind of whatever English name you use for lockdown or maybe in large curfew equivalent. But I may differ with everybody who spoke over here. A fortnight restriction is not going to be controlling a city of Bombay or a city of Pune or a Nagpur. Rural areas you may be able to control. This is an unmanageable city because I'm living here. I'm seeing it when Professor Joshi mentioned about we should have zero tolerance. For enforcement, you need a very large force. We don't have that kind of a force available. We did tell that 700 buildings or 1,300 buildings were locked down. I mean, they're sealed off, and there should be a policeman posted at the gate of each one of them. Impractical. The total force of Bombay can't do all of that. So, are we a disciplined set of people to do that? Industry is separate. Don't worry about it. Industry is willing to suffer for a fortnight. But that's not going to be resolving the problem. Since you mentioned about oxygen as an issue, it is going to be impacting the entire fabrication industry because our entire welding process and cutting of metal process is using oxygen. When you say no oxygen going to be available to the industry, it is going to be suffering. But I am ready for it. But we should recognize for a fact that the same industry had to be designing the PPE. The same industry had to be manufacturing ventilators, and it is done by the industry only. And whatever you're needing today, you have to create also simultaneously wealth. Across the globe, after the first wave, everybody recognized that economic slowdown is not going to be helping. India is the only country which went for a very long lockdown, and we also suffered by our entire economy tanking down by 24% in a quarter. Yearly number, manufacturing has contracted by 11.3% in the last quarter. Just please remember that way. Any contraction will be slowing down the process of creation of wealth. That money is needed for any activity, whatever the distribution of wealth is done by the political class.
So, Mr. Unnikrishnan, you are right. You are right that to say that, well, 15 days won't change the situation in the sense COVID goes away or that the spread of infection also stops. But will there be some amount of relief in lower cases, because that's what the health infrastructure system needs. They can't deal with any more rise in the cases. They can't deal with any more rise in the testing demand as well. Dr. Shashank Joshi, would that be a fair analysis of why we have to do this 15-day break, or even if we extend it to say a month?
So this is like a circuit breaker. So I agree with Unnikrishnan that, this 15 days but it's a step towards breaking a chain. And at least some degree of enforcement and seriousness will go down, because we found that behavior of people at large was reckless. And the healthcare infrastructure is simply overwhelmed. Whether it is a testing infrastructure, whether it is the hospital beds, people are running from pillar to post for medicines, for beds, for getting care. The medical and the frontline workers are completely overburdened with work. So when we are in that type of a situation, which is a war-like situation, I think we definitely need a time to build capacity. We are building 4 more jumbo facilities in Mumbai city. We are trying to upscale beds by almost 3,000 in the city. We are already full, in a large capacity. And the main demographic of the second surge is that the people of middle class and upper middle class are the ones which are affected. Unlike last time, which were predominantly the poor people which are affected. Today, slums of Dharavi still reports 50 and 100 because they have zero positivity of 50% or some degree of herd immunity. But it is the high rises from where the population is coming. And all the private hospitals are full. They are stretched beyond recognition. Every nursing home in the city of Mumbai is full. And we are completely overwhelmed. So this 15 days will give a breather to the healthcare infrastructure, policy makers, strategists to build some more capacity into the city. The Bombay Municipal Commissioner has gone on record. He has decentralized those 24 wards as 24 Mumbais. And they will ensure that every citizen is going to get a bed. Already we are seeing the first signs of some degree of plateauing. But if people behave better, they don't crowd in places, and we will be able to break the chain. And I think when we unlock, there has to be zero tolerance. Look at the East. Look at Taiwan. Look at Thailand. Look at all the Eastern countries, including Australia and New Zealand. They have zero tolerance for masking. They have fines up to 5,000 to 20,000 rupee equivalents. If we are able to enforce that, it is impossible. We are only having a fine of 100 or 200 rupees, which according to me, people just walk away with it. So people are not serious about masking. According to me, the strongest vaccine today for COVID is COVID appropriate behavior, double masking, distancing. And I hope that these 15 days allow also the information, education and counseling campaign from the governmental side, public health and non-NGOs to ensure that this behavior will be adapted when unlocking process will start in maybe another 2, 3, 4 weeks from now.
Yes, tougher implementation. Implementation. Penalizing people, violators is the priority and is the key. And that should have been actually the focus throughout. We've been speaking about it for a really long time. But because people don't get the message and the authorities have failed to do it, perhaps now formalizing it in such a manner will help. I'm going to thank all of the panelists who've joined us. Viewers, essentially in Maharashtra, 90% of the new restrictions already exist. Markets and malls are supposed to be closed. Theatres are not functioning at all. Schools and colleges are already shut. Most people are preferring to work from home. Only essential shops are actually supposed to be open. Weekends are supposed to be complete lockdown. There are no dine-ins in any restaurants and hotels. But now they have gone a step further to reduce even the number of people who can attend a wedding or a funeral. No film shoots will be allowed. Factories can function under certain exemptions. Those exemptions are actually pretty generous in that sense, and most factories, bigger ones, should be able to. The problem will be with the smaller ones, because if you're not able to provide staying facility within your premises for your staff and your labor, or put them in a bio bubble, then you may have a difficult time continuing with your business. So it's the smaller businesses that may actually face some trouble. Public transport will continue, though they say only for essential services. So auto rickshaws, cabs, local trains and buses for essential services will continue. RBI, SEBI related, banks related, media related people can also continue under essential services. So these are the new sets of restrictions for the next 15 days that the Maharashtra government has announced. But honestly, we can only break the chain if we implement any of these rules properly and strictly on ground. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. Thank you so much for joining us on this special broadcast.